Halo in 5 minutes. Everything you need to know about the story so far. Spoiler alert. Hundreds of years in the future, humans have settled space. Colonists on the planet Harvest make first contact with ETs, but they aren't the cute kind who like candy. They're called the Covenant, and they like to glass planets. They don't get on well with humans. War breaks out in 2525, and things go sideways. Fortunately, the United Nations Space Command has been kidnapping 6-year-olds and making them into super soldiers called Spartans. Spartans wear cool armor and don't talk very much. There are a bunch of Spartans, but most of them are killed by the Covenant in nasty ways, until only one remains accounted for, Master Chief John 117. He has a sexy blue girlfriend/mom named Cortana, an artificial intelligence that lives inside his helmet and orders him around. They fight the Covenant together and destroy expensive spaceships. One of these is the Pillar of Autumn, which Master Chief uses to escape from Reach while the Covenant cook it with plasma weapons. The Pillar makes a desperate jump into slipspace, which is like hyperspace, only slipperier. They end up at this giant ring called Halo. They crash on the surface, which is actually really pretty and has nice music. The Marines get excited and drive around in vehicles named after animals. On Halo, we find out the Covenant are religious nuts who worship this vanished race called Forerunners. Things start to get biblical. The Covenant are into old Forerunner tech, including the Halo ring. Cortana finds out Halo also contains the Flood, a scary parasite that consumes all sentient life. Before she can stop them, the Covenant accidentally release the Flood, who eat Marines and Covenant for breakfast. Nom 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 nom. The Chief meets Halo's monitor, 343 Guilty Spark, and everyone trusts him because he has a British accent.
More or less.
Chief fires up the Halo ring to kill the Flood, but Cortana stops him. She finds out Halo is actually a weapon built by the Forerunners to stop the Flood, but it also kills everything in its path. Spark gets testy and rants about protocols. He plans to fire the Halo array, but Chief and Cortana would prefer not to nuke the galaxy and refuse to help him.
Save his head. Dispose of the rest.
They head back to the Autumn and blow it up, taking the Halo ring with it. They escape thinking they destroyed Halo and everything on it. Back at Earth, Master Chief gets new armor from Sergeant Major Avery Johnson. Cortana grows her hair out, and everyone gets medals. Then, the Covenant attack the Earth city of New Mombasa, which is like old Mombasa but with more weapon crates. Master Chief rides a bomb, and there's a fight on the surface. The Covenant High Prophet of Regret retreats, taking his command ship into slipspace above New Mombasa. The city is destroyed just as a squad of orbital drop shock troopers are landing. They enter a world of hurt, while the Master Chief, Cortana, and Johnson follow the Prophet's ship aboard the In Amber Clad. Back on the Covenant base world, High Charity, we learn that alien society is based on race, class, and ugliness. Angry that he botched the Battle of Halo, the Covenant turned the commander into an arbiter. He has clicky mandibles and gets special armor. He goes on a suicide mission to kill a heretic. While the Chief tracks Regret, we follow the Arbiter, who does some light fencing while invisible. He listens to the heretic, then kills him to death. He heads back to High Charity with 343 Guilty Spark, who turns out to be pretty tough. Meanwhile, the In Amberclad follows the Prophet of Regret, and they stumble on another Halo. Despite being 6,000 miles wide, Halo rings apparently don't show up on telescopes. Master Chief hits the surface with some ODSTs, who are Australian and like to wear black. They hunt down Regret, who wants to flip on the Halo array and go to alien heaven. The Chief kills the Prophet by punching him in the neck. A Covenant ship shows up, so the Chief goes for a swim. Back on High Charity, there's this Covenant power struggle. The Arbiter and the rest of the elites lose out to the Brutes, which is strange because the Brutes aren't very good in a fight. But the Arbiter winds up in an abyss with the Chief. They wake up in the tentacles of this giant, slimy Venus flytrap called Gravemind. It recites poetry, gives advice, and speaks for the Flood.
I am a monument to all your sins.
Gravemind tells the Arbiter the Halos are less religious vessels and more Holocaust machines. He sends the Arbiter and the Chief to shut them down. But the Flood hijack the In Amberclad and invade High Charity. Cortana wants to use the ship's FTL drive to blow up Halo because it worked before, except that a floating eyeball and a Marine survived last time. The Chief escapes and heads back to Earth while Cortana stays behind to detonate the ship. He promises to come back for her. Nerds cry. Back on the ring, the Brute Chieftain Tartarus politely asks Captain Keyes to activate the Halo Core, which only humans can do with their soft, supple hands. The Arbiter, his disgusting mandibles, and his new friend Sergeant Johnson stop him, but not before Tartarus activates the Halo array. Keyes shuts it down before it fires, but all 7 Halos go on standby, which is dangerous and not very energy efficient. Guilty Spark tells the crew that the only way to shut down the array is to visit a place called the Ark. Everyone nods. Master Chief promises to finish the fight, and Cortana and the Gravemind grab coffee.
All right. Shoot.
Chief heads back to Earth and crashes in the African jungle. Humans fight their way back toward New Mombasa, where the pesky Prophet Truth is after this Forerunner relic. He activates it, opens another slipspace portal, and goes inside. The Flood land on Earth and crash land near the portal. The elites are now BFFs with humans and help them fight the Flood. The gang hops aboard the frigate Forward Unto Dawn and, surprise, follows the Prophet through the portal. On the other side, they find the Ark, a massive Forerunner structure on the edge of space. Truth is here and plans to fire all the Halos. Then all hell breaks loose. The Flood infests Charity and Keyes is killed by Regret, who then forces Johnson to activate the Halo array. Gravemind shows up, recites more bad poetry, gives more advice, and betrays everybody. Also, the Ark is making another Halo. Oops. Master Chief is probably tired of blowing up Halo rings by this point, but he joins Cortana to do it again. They nuke High Charity and the Gravemind, but Guilty Spark gets cold feet and kills Johnson, which everyone agrees is uncalled for.
Unacceptable! Unacceptable! Absolutely unacceptable!
The Chief responds by offing Spark and activating the unfinished ring, which tears itself apart and takes the Ark with it. He, Cortana, and the Arbiter escape on the Forward Unto Dawn, but only the Arbiter half makes it through slipspace and back to Earth. The Arbiter goes to a funeral, while the Chief and Cortana take a cryo nap and tumble into space.
What the f is that?